In our previous assignment, we worked with classes a little bit, and we're going to continue that today, but we're going to throw in another aspect called div tags. And I'm going to show you in this video how they work and what I want you to do today. You're going to get a little practice and experience with div tags and classes. As always, everything, this handout will be linked up on Google Classroom, and it's got documentation about everything that I'm going to show you here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the handout. I'm going to hop straight over to code.org. You will have a link also on Google Classroom to some code that looks like this, which I'm going to fire up here. And I'm going to go ahead and do my remix real quick. You'll have to hit view code, remix, and you can rename it. All those good things, right? Now I might, if this will let me, I would like to pull this over a little bit. All right, get that a little closer. So here's the HTML. We've got, if you look on the preview window on the right, it's all universities, right? Kind of major universities. And it has the same thing for everyone. It has the name of the university, the team colors, and the nickname. And if you look over in the HTML section here in the middle, you can see how they're written for every one of these universities. There's an H2, an H4, and an H3. Okay. Now, what we want to do is be able to kind of format these things, but you've got different kinds of elements here. You've got an H2, you've got an H4, you've got an H3, and it can get a little tedious if you have to say class equals, class equals, class equals. Right? Because what I want to do is make a kind of an Indiana University class that uses their colors. That's part of the assignment today. And it tells you right here, Indiana's colors are red and white. Okay, or cream and crimson if you prefer. So you're going to have to incorporate some red and white in there somehow, either with background colors or text colors or however you decide you want to do it. But again, it would get a little tedious, it's a lot of work to come along here and have to say class equals, class equals, class equals on all of those things. So here's how we're going to do that. Today we're going to look at what are called div tags. All right, so right here, right before the Indiana University section, I'm just going to put in a tag that looks like this. Bracket, I don't want my caps lock on, that just bugs me. Bracket div bracket, right? And then right below Indiana University, I'm going to go bracket / div bracket. Now all that does is create kind of like a whatever you want to call it, a section, a portion, a container, right? That little section where the div starts and the div stops, everything inside there is kind of in a box or in a jar, or whatever you want to think about it, whatever helps your brain understand it, right? It's in a container. The div starts, I put it at line 11, and it stops at line 16, and everything in between there is in that container. All right, so real quick here, got to do that on all of them. Now, I might not actually demonstrate all of them in this demo or in this movie, but I want to at least, like I always do, I want to give you enough to go on that I feel like you know what to do. All right, so for Purdue University, I'm going to do the same thing. I went to about line 20 on the HTML, and I put bracket div bracket. And on line 24, right after Purdue University, I put bracket / div bracket. Okay, I'm going to demo one more in here. I'll go to Notre Dame, and I'm sitting at line 28. The line numbers don't make a difference. It's just that's what I'm using. So I'm going to bracket div bracket, and then right after that, at like what are we at? 32 bracket / div bracket. So for those first three, I have created what are called divs, right? They're like containers or boxes or jars or whatever you want to call them. Now, you would have to do that for every university. I think in this movie, I'm not going to go on and do Ball State and Florida and Alabama and Kentucky and all of them that you see listed here, but you need to do that for the assignment. Hopefully, this part of it, you're getting on to, okay, here's how you do it. You mark a div tag at the beginning and after, right? Before and after each little set for each university. Okay, so those three are done. And what you should do is just do all of them. All right, now it's back over to the CSS page. Now what we got to do is write some classes. All right, well, so remember that you have to use school colors in your classes somehow. So I'm going to come along here and I'll make a class called .indiana. Remember, classes start with a dot. And I could have said .iu. That would have worked. You know, you just can't have a space. But I'm just going to call it .indiana. You can name it whatever you want to name it. It could have been .hoosiers. You know, do it however you want to do it. You just have to be consistent with your names. All right, so I'm going to go curly bracket, enter a couple of times, closing curly bracket. And remember, now this is where it always gets into exactly how you do it's up to you, but you got to put in, you know, you got to use school colors and you got to do some class work here. All right, so I'm going to say, I think I'll do, I'm going to go with a background color, and I'll do, I think crimson is a valid color, yep, and actually that's the official color of IU. So I'm going to use a background color of crimson. I'm going to use a color of, and actually, you know, again, cream is the official color of IU, so I'm going to use ivory, which is kind of an off-white. Okay, whatever. And then I might throw on a border dash style of solid. Oops, sorry, solid, semicolon, and a border dash width of, I might do it like a 10 pixel border, and a border, border dash color of, I'm going to match my, what am I going to match? I'm going to match my text color, so, no, I'll just do black for the border color. And I might throw in some padding. I've kind of talked about how I like padding, so I'm going to put in like 10 pixels of padding. All right, so that none of that is really happening yet, right? Because I haven't finished yet. Now here's an option for you. I did a background color, a text color, a border style, a border width. Oh, you know what else I think I might want in there is a border dash. I kind of like that curved. You make up your own mind about it, but I kind of like that curved corner on the border. So I'm going to put in a border radius as well. Now here's a possibility. Right? I just wrote a rule that says .indiana and it has all these things. Do I really have to retype the rule for Purdue? Well, not necessarily. Here's what I could do, right? I could come along here and I could say, okay, I'm going to take that whole Indiana class that I wrote and I'm going to copy it, and I'll click down below. I got to get down below there, and I'm going to paste it. And then I just have to switch it up, right? It can't say Indiana and it can't be crimson and ivory. So I could come along here and say, all right, let's switch this up to be, I should spell it right, P-U-R-D-U-P. And for the background color, I think I'll go black. You know what? No, for the background color, I'm going to go gold. Just gold is good. And for the text color, no, just gold, I said. Okay, good. For the text color, I'm just going to keep it black. And then for the border color, I think I might go, oh, come on, get down there. For the border color, I think I might go gold. All right. And then, you know, all the other things I kind of want to keep the same. Like I'm going to keep the padding the same and the border radius the same, and so I don't really have to rewrite every class necessarily, right? So since I did 3 of them over on the HTML, I'll just one more time. Well, I wouldn't really have to copy it again, right? I can just go paste it one more time. And my third one, what? Notre Dame. So this name, I'm just going to use .nd. I could write out Notre Dame if I wanted to. And for the background color, I'm going to go green. Let's go, yeah, that green looks good. Semicolon there. For the color, I'm going to go gold for the text color. Green and gold is what I'm going to use. The border style. And for the border color, I've got a background of green. I'm going to go gold on my border color. All right. All right, so I have these classes written. I wrote 3 classes, and I did some copying and pasting to speed it up a little bit to help myself out some, right? So now it's a matter of applying the classes. And we kind of did this in our previous lesson, but let's make sure we're putting things in the right place, okay? So I've got 3 of them to work with, and remember, you're going to have to do more. You're going to have to do Ball State and Florida and Alabama and Kentucky and Ohio State and Louisiana. It tells you the colors. If you don't know the colors, they're right there. It tells you the colors, so no excuses there. All right, so back over to the HTML. What do we do? All right, well, the place that we plug in the class, like for Indiana, is going to be right here. It's going to be on the div tag, not on the H2 or H4 or H3. Let's not do that. I'm going to put it in on the div tag. That way, it will apply to this whole section. Everything that I wrote for the Indiana class will apply to that whole section. All right, so I'm going to go, I'll just hit the space bar. It's going to be class equals, quote, INDIANA, close quote. And bingo, look. And I could have done more. I could have done text align center, and I could have changed font families, and I could have changed font size, and I could have done more with the styling. But it's working, and it's applying to everything that's in that division, that div, right, in that container. That's like a container. All right. So on the Purdue one, I'll come down. Mine's on line 20. I'll come down to the div on the div tag. I'll hit the space bar, and I'm going to go class equals, quote, P-U-R-D-U-E, close the quote. And boy, a black border would have looked better there. I could go back and fix that, but a black border would have looked better. And for Notre Dame, I'll go down to the div. Mine is sitting at line 28, but yours might be on a different line number. That's up to you. And I'm going to say class equals, quote, and this was just ND is what I called it. Boom. And so I have my Notre Dame colors working on Notre Dame, right? So this is the kind of thing, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to run back to Purdue, and I want my border color to be black. There, that's better. I like that better. All right. So what you're doing is you're writing a class, but when you apply it to a div, like I did right here, here I'll highlight the Purdue one for an example. When you apply it to a div, everything inside those div tags gets the styling that's in that class, right? Everything is getting the black text, the gold background, the black border. And if I were to come back here, again, if I were to come back here to my style.css and go to the Purdue class here and say, oh, let's do this. Let's go, sorry, I can't type, font family, and let's go mono space, semicolon. No, I didn't put the mono space in there. Mono space, semicolon. And refresh and save, right? Where is my mouse? Refresh and save. And so if you look at it, it updated, right? I just changed the font family on the Purdue University section. All of that stuff inside the Purdue University section just got changed to the monospace font. All right. So I'm going to bail here. I did 3 of them. Hopefully you see, how that works. You got to put in the div tags, right? You got to put a div before and after each university div, and then /div. And then you got to write your classes over here that are going to style those up, and then you got to come back to your index.html and put in class equals and get that in there so it's working kind of like you see here. I've got one over here that is all the way done. Look at that. All right, this one looks a little bit different because I centered some things, but here's my version of it that is all the way done with all the school colors. There it is. All right, I'm going to bail. Your turn. Let's go.